What's up everyone, welcome back to Offshore Audio. I'm Andrew. This is the channel where I'm sharing loads of tips and tricks with you about becoming a live sound engineer or being a better live sound engineer. I've been off work with a back injury recently, and that got me thinking about the types of videos that I'm making here. Today, I thought I would take a different look at things. I've been thinking about connectivity within our industry, right? Within the industry of live sound engineers and how we communicate together. And online is obviously a great resource, is a great way for us to come together and connect. Now, if you're not on there already, I highly recommend getting on Reddit. r/livesound is this amazing place where loads of consummate professionals get together to share their knowledge with everyone, really share this amazing level of expertise that they have. It's a fantastic environment. And I saw a post on there recently, which was someone sharing a great piece of advice that they'd been given when they started out, and then asking other Redditors to chip in and say other pieces of advice that they've been given that they thought were invaluable, right? And I thought, why not make a list of the most important things that I've learned from reading comments from Redditors? Without further ado, this is the top 10 pieces of advice that I've come across as a live sound engineer on Reddit. Number one is don't bend down. Currently, as I said, I'm off work with a back injury. It's really sore. It's a pretty good reminder that our bodies are super fragile, right? You really don't need to do a lot to completely screw up your back, right? And it has consequences, like being off work, not earning money. But the mantra behind this comment is we bring so many things into a venue, and there are always tables and chairs and surfaces, amplifiers, flight cases. There's always a place to put things, okay? You can always set a microphone or microphone cables on top of a case. There's really no need to set them down on the floor. Every time you put something on the floor, you need to pick it up from the floor again. And every time you have to bend down and pick something up, you're essentially increasing the risk of injuring yourself, which I can guarantee you is no fun at all. Put stuff on top of cases, chairs, just don't put it on the floor. Make your life easier, avoid injury. You'll love yourself for it. And remember, it's not just heavy stuff that can injure you. Someone recently said to me that, I don't need to worry about lifting this properly, it's not that heavy. You can screw your back right up by picking up a microphone off the floor. That's totally possible. Don't believe me? Go speak to a doctor or a physiotherapist. Put these things up where you can reach them easily. Save yourself the effort. Save your body the effort as well. Number two is no one leaves humming the kick drum. What do I mean by this? We as sound engineers often get lost in the details of the mix. We quite like focusing on each individual element and trying to make it as good as it can be, which is good. We do need to think of the bigger picture. Quite often the kick drum is the first channel and we're trying to make that sound good because we're moving methodically through things, right? But in like 80% of the cases, maybe the vocals are supposed to be the thing that's on top. Think more holistically about the mix in general. I mean, I know this isn't true for every genre. If you're mixing metal, it's entirely possible that the vocals take on a more percussive role and maybe the kick drum and the guitars actually are the kind of main elements of the mix. But my point is that you should be mixing the band, the songs, the event, right? And not mixing each individual channel. The first thing you should do is aim to get the big picture across. Mix the band, not just the elements inside the band. Number three, this is one of my favorites. There will be a show. It might be shit. You will go home afterwards. You're going to have problems in your career. If you do this job for any amount of time, you are going to come across some absolute catastrophes where you want the entire world to swallow you up. You are thinking, can I pay anyone to come and do this job for me so I can just leave and not have to deal with this anymore? I guess the main thrust of this piece of advice is that it's going to end at some point. You're going to go home and you might feel pretty beat up about it, but you'll learn from that experience and you'll go back to work the next day or whenever your next show is, and life will move on. And you're going to be really motivated to avoid that kind of experience again, which is going to make you really focus on getting your processes right, getting all the information set, and doing everything you can to avoid catastrophes. And that's experience. That's how you get better at things. I've had a lot of horrible experiences. I've had gigs where it's just been screaming feedback. Maybe some of them weren't my fault. Maybe some of them were. The thought of those experiences really drives me to make sure, like when I'm going to a gig, do I have the information I need and do I have the time that I need? And I'll flag that up in the beginning. The world will not swallow you up. You'll have to live through it. And unfortunately, just remember, it's only one night. You'll live. Number four, this is a simple one. Twist the mic stand, not the mic clip. If you've been working with this for a while, you probably know the easiest way to put a microphone clip on a stand is to just hold the microphone clip in, screw the stand into the clip. Way quicker than fiddling around with a clip, especially if there's a microphone on it. You drop the microphone, you break it, Great, waste of time. But the bigger takeaway from this is to look for the easy way to do things. It is a complex job, time is tight a lot of the time on shows, and we don't need to look for the difficult way to do things. If there are wheels, put stuff on the wheels and wheel them in. You know, if you've got 20 microphone stands, put them on top of amplifier cases when you wheel the amplifier cases in. Don't go back and forth and carry each individual microphone stand. It's C.3, a disaster will happen, and you're gonna need that time that you've saved to fix that disaster. So the takeaway from this point is, don't make extra work for yourself. Number 5, don't be a hero. There's a lot of lifting involved when you're a sound engineer, especially if you work for a production company that's bringing in their own equipment. Don't try and lift things that are clearly too heavy for you by yourself. Just get help. Just ask someone else to help. There's nothing impressive about lifting a 30 kilo speaker over your head and putting it onto a speaker stand. It's even less impressive when you drop that speaker and you break it. And it's way less impressive when you drop that speaker and then you injure yourself. And you know, ultimately the logistics of moving something heavy in such a way that you can balance it properly and get it on a speaker stand, it's actually just way quicker to get someone else to lift it up, pop it on, easy. Again, the main thrust of this point is be aware of health and safety. Don't try and do stupid things. If you've got like a projector on the ceiling that you want to get access to, get a ladder. Don't stack chairs on top of each other or climb on top of amplifiers to go and get to it. It's not worth it. It's just a job. You want to go home at the end of the day. It's a great job, but it's not a great job if you can't do it. Look out for yourself. Look out for others. Number 6, label everything. So I take this with a bit of a pinch of salt. I think of this more as have all the information that you need, take notes. If you have time, absolutely label things. Definitely it's more important to get sound coming out of your system than to label things in the beginning, but when you've got the time, make sure that you do label microphones, cables, stage boxes, because you know, when you have a dead cable, it's a lot easier than just following microphone cables to find things if you can see that it's labeled correctly. Similarly, label the channels on your desk. Don't think you'll remember which channel is the lead vocal and which channel is the lead guitar. And you know, if you are with a production company and stuff isn't labeled, it's no fun when other people take your stuff. So label everything. And take notes. Remember people's names by writing them down. There are a lot of personnel involved in bigger shows. It really helps if you can remember the stage manager's name when you need to get a hold of them. Take notes, label things. Number 7 is another personal favorite of mine, right? And that is don't run. When you run, you create panic. People look at you and go, why is that guy running? What's the emergency? And our job really is to put people at ease. Yes, we have to mix the show, but a lot of the times in corporate work and in the run up to shows, like in sound checks and things, you just want everyone to feel comfortable. You want everyone to think, yeah, this show is going to happen and it's going to be fun. And a lot of our job is to keep cool when things are going wrong. We need to assure people that, yeah, maybe something is going wrong. We've got it under control. We're going to fix it. When you run, you destroy this cool demeanor, essentially, that you have been trying to build up by looking at things on fire and saying, yeah, it's on fire. Don't worry. We'll put it out. Even if internally you're like, oh my God, it's on fire. It helps if you can internalize that. Yeah, no problem. And quickly walk over to the fire extinguisher, the metaphorical fire extinguisher. If things are on fire, maybe it's best to just run out of the building. Number 8, if you don't know, ask. There's a lot of arrogance and ego that can be found, especially in the kind of entry levels of this industry, smaller venues and things. I think you find a lot of people that think they know everything, and there is nothing impressive about thinking that you know everything. The real professionals in this field know the kind of scope of their own limitations. They know when they don't know how to do something, and they know who they need to phone to find a solution to that. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and fix problems on your own, okay? But you should have a process for fixing those problems. Set yourself a time limit, like say 10 minutes. When you discover the problem, say, I will try and fix this myself for 10 minutes. And while you work through fixing that, take notes. Be methodical about how you have tried to fix the problem. Then after 10 minutes, if you haven't fixed it, phone someone that you know knows the answer to that problem. And by sharing your notes with them, you'll also help them to come to the solution quicker. You can say, I have tried A, B, C with X, Y, Z. None of them have worked. And then if you're lucky, the person on the other end of the phone will say, oh, then it must be F. That'll help you to get a faster answer. Just remember, you can ask for help. Number 9, don't mix with your eyes. We've got loads of amazing visual aids when we mix. On EQs, we see the cuts and the boosts that we're doing. We've got gain reduction meters. We've got real-time analyzers, all this kind of thing. But they actually don't tell us whether it's good or not. They can't tell us if it is objectively good or bad, because that's quite subjective in itself. You know, you might look at a crazy big cut on an EQ, and it actually turns out that that's just what you need to do to make that particular instrument or whatever sound right in the room. You know, I started out mixing on analog consoles and you just didn't look at the EQs, you just touched them and moved them. And then when I moved over to digital ones, it's quite shocked to think how big sometimes you need to make a cut to get the effect that you want. Similarly, you know, you might have a compressor that's showing not a lot of gain reduction, but you seem like you're running into feedback a lot. Maybe you're just compressing a lot more than you think you are, a lot more than the meter tells you. So use your ears, hear things, listen to the music. And remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And number 10, the final point, the most important one in my eyes, it's about people. It's not about the tech. What do I mean by this? Yes, it's about the tech. You do need to know how to use the equipment. And it's super fun to learn how to use new equipment. People get into this job to play with cool toys, work with cool bands and listen to cool music and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's pointless if you're a dick, right? Not to mention it's no fun, but if you can be a pleasant human being, everyone else is going to enjoy working with you, and it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be better for you and it's going to score you more jobs. People don't remember the show that you worked on, right? Only you remember the show. And even after you've done a bunch of them, you won't remember the show. But people remember you. People remember working with you. They remember you making them feel at ease. They remember you being a professional, solving the problems quickly and efficiently without panicking anyone and giving them the result that they want. That's what they remember. I had a show that I did several years ago and loads of technical stuff went wrong. And at the end of the day, the customer said to me, yes, there were problems, but you handled them immediately and with such professionalism, we will absolutely be back. We had an amazing experience here. And you know what? They came back, they asked for me again, it ended up being more work for me. It's pleasant for everyone. Be a nice person. Be good at your job, but also don't be a dick. That was my top 10 pieces of advice that I've come across on Reddit for live sound engineers. I hope you found that one helpful. Let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, or if you wouldn't equally. Also leave me a comment, let me know if you have your own rules that you work by that are your absolute mantras that I've maybe missed out, because I would love to hear them. You know, I'm always looking to be better at my job myself. If you're just getting started out in live sound, then I would advise you to have a look at the first module of my course, which is free. I will leave a link to it in the description down below. In this module, I'll cover absolutely all the basics of the stage and what you need to get going as a sound engineer. You can also check out the course. It's really good if you want to unlock the career that you're after and, you know, start making some pennies as a sound engineer. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like if it was useful to you. Helps me out, tells YouTube that I'm a good guy, and everyone likes to hear that, don't they? I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.